grounds of Clearview High School in Mullica Hill, New Jersey, the GCEN presents high school football. Tonight, the Clearview Pioneers host the Paul VI Eagles. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Marc Narducci. A beautiful evening for football. Just about 68 degrees outside. We should have fantastic weather. It certainly won't play a role. Two teams that are trying to find an identity. They've gone off to a relatively good start. Both are looking at this game as a must-win. Clearview comes in with wins over Bridgeton and Eastern. Paul VI also with a pair of wins, but they have a lot more on their plate. They've had a busy week.
No question. Phil Bernuzzi, the first-year head coach, resigned after 4 games in the middle of the week. Glenn Hutton, who was the offensive coordinator, was named the interim head coach. Glenn's a Paul VI graduate, Rob. He was a great quarterback at Paul VI. Had a terrific career at Bloomsburg, where he switched to wide receiver. He's only 25 years old. He's going to also be calling the plays tonight in addition to being head coaching. I think he's up to the task. You know, he interviewed for this job before, and I think this maybe is his chance to say, hey, I could do this job.
Well, it should be an interesting night because, of course, it's an opportunity for the team to rally around the new coaching staff, and they have one man to look for that's really going to need to step up tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. J.J. Walters is a new guy on the team, played for Cherry Hill East before. He's been doing a great job at running back. He's averaging 5.3 yards per carry, just under 300 yards for the year. And Robbie also gives him great play on the other end of the field at linebacker. He's got 15 tackles on the year. He's been one of the real good newcomers in this West Jersey Football League.
Talking about coaching, on the other side of the football, we have Mark Deal. He's been around a while, Gateway, over at Audubon, where he coached Joe Flacco, and now here at Clearview. They've been looking for that breakthrough year. He's hoping this is going to be the one.
Well, it has a chance. You know, they're not going to do anything in the division because they play in the division with Timber Creek, and we all know about that. But they have a real viable shot at making the South Jersey Group 4 playoffs, and I think that's a very realistic goal. At 2-1, if they can get a win tonight, as you outlined in your earlier comments, very, very big for the Pioneers.
In some ways, this may be just a good evening for the Pioneers, of course, coming up against a team that's in a little bit of a shakeup, but they also have a player coming back who's missed a little bit in Jair Sharper.
Well, he got a concussion, and he's a running back, defensive back. And what it is, Rob, they were fortunate. They had a bye last week, and Mark Neal said if they had not had that bye, a lot of players, including Sharper, may not have been available. You remember last year, Sharper averaged 12 yards a carry. Now, he's not quite averaging that much this year, but he's still a great breakaway threat. He's a guy you have to count for all the time.
Keep an eye on the first quarter. It'll be interesting to see how this Paul VI team responds to what they've been through this week. We'll have it for you in just a moment. Welcome back to Clearview High School here in Mullica Hill, your Atlantic City Electric game of the week. Rob Christ along with Marc Narducci. 70 degrees just prior to game time, partly cloudy. And again, a beautiful, beautiful night for football. And weather should not play a role. As we mentioned before, Paul VI with a new head coach tonight. And Mark, I can tell you firsthand, he's got nothing but butterflies.
Oh, there's no question. He just said it's been a crazy week, and you can imagine that. I mean, this happened Wednesday. It's not like it happened at the beginning of the week even. So it's in the middle of the week. They've already had their game plan and everything done. And there's a good look at Glenn Hutton, and he'll be calling the plays and being the head coach as well.
You know, ironically, in some ways, it's almost better that it happens in the middle of the week because you don't even have the ability to plan for this. You just have to go, have all your adrenaline headed in the right direction, and you know, again, it's interesting to see how the kids will respond.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Rob, we have to mention, they have 2 former Paul VI assistants who are now coming back to help out. Joe Santino, who actually coached Glenn Hutton, and Ray Kenny. So that helps give the stability of the program. Those guys have been around before, and certainly guys that Glenn Hutton knows and trusts and feels real good about.
Clearview won the toss. They elected to receive, and we are underway here at Clearview High School. Ball taken deep inside the 5-yard line, across the 15, now the 20. Finally cut down a return of about 18 yards. A good job by Jair Sharper. So Jair Sharper, we talked about in the open, he gets the football in his hands right away. He's a big kid, and you know he's chomping at the bit, having missed quite a few weeks.
He wasn't, as I said, because of the bye. Excuse me, Rob. He didn't really miss time, other than maybe like the second half of the Timber Creek game. So the bye came at a good time for them, and he's back there.
Garrett Baker, your quarterback, always a threat to run, has really done a nice job running this offense thus far. Hands it off, and maybe a pickup of 1 or 2 from Jacob Welishek. Welishek, guy who is a very, very physical player, in many ways one of the big leaders on this team. Coaching staff says he's a kid that just leads by example, and this is a Clearview team that prides itself on distributing the football.
Well, they run this triple option, the Army triple option offense, very difficult to defend.
And again, you can see right there just what you spoke about as Jarrett Baker, the senior, picks up a nice chunk, and he'll be very, very close to the first down.
You know, Rob, Baker's averaging over 7 yards a carry, so he's obviously a lethal guy carrying the ball. Starter last year, and remember him on defense, he had over 100 tackles last year, so a tremendous two-way player for this Clearview team.
First down and 10 for the Pioneers. A good start on a big night for Clearview. Baker hands it off, cutting against the grain, and Sharper finally taken down. I say a big night because they honored all the local youth football programs here. It's always fun to see the 8, 9, 10-year-olds out on the field, and very exciting, Mark. I think one thing that high school kids seem to forget is that they too are role models, and these young kids really look up to them.
Well, not only that, this really helps develop a program when you get the youth leagues in there. Mark Deal thinks this is a very, very special thing and a needed thing, and he's right, to kind of get all the youth programs together and really interested in the high school team.
Second down and 6 after the carry by Sharper. Baker again will hand off, and driving forward, it's Welishek. They'll be shy, and that'll bring up a third down, the first for the Pioneers. Devin Wilmer is the man that you constantly see in motion, and again, they have a litany of talent there. And as you mentioned, for a linebacker, this offense is a nightmare. Third down and 3. 2 receivers split left for Baker and the Pioneers. Wilmer in motion. Baker keeps, pitches to Wilmer. Wilmer cuts it outside. Has a lot of room. Wilmer on his way. Touchdown.
Down the sideline.
63-yard touchdown run for Wilmer, and that will get this crowd excited.
Devin Wilmer, not a big guy at 5'8" and 140, but you saw him, Rob, really able to turn on the jets. Got one final block in there, and he was off to the races.
Wilmer, one of the fastest kids, if not the fastest on this Clearview team. So not surprisingly, once he cut it outside, it was trouble. On for the extra point, and it is successful. So Clearview on top 7-0. This is not the start that Paul VI really had hoped for, Mark.
No, and again, it's just basic triple option stuff, and really good deception too by Baker. One of the things, besides being a great runner, is he's a great ball handler, and that's often underrated in a quarterback, but in a triple option offense, it's really important.
Take a look at this touchdown. We mentioned Wilmer so fast that We couldn't even catch up to him until he went to the end zone. But again, you know, one of the things the coaching staff pointed out, Mark, is that Baker has really grown into the role of quarterback. He's really starting to understand the nuances of this offense, and that's going to bode well as the season progresses.
By the way, Rob, do you think they're going to score a few points in this game? Remember last year, Paul Six wins 38-31? Remember 2 years ago, Paul Six won 60-55. It may have been the highest scoring game I've ever covered.
It may be, it's like a basketball game.
Reporters on deadline, though, weren't exactly happy.
Probably ran out of ink.
Yeah.
So Clearview will kick it away. 5 plays, 80 yards. Devin Wilmer capping it off with that 63-yard TD jaunt. And now Christian Higgins will kick it away, a transfer from Lenape High School.
Of course, Higgins just was the one that kicked that PAT.
And the kick taken just inside the 10-yard line, and returning, it's Amir Bird, and Bird cut down, so Paul the Sixth, their first time on offense. Bird, just a sophomore, listed at just 5'6", 135 pounds. And again, you have to really give credit to a kid like that, going full speed ahead on the kickoff, just 135 pounds against some bruisers. Bird, a nice job to put Paul the Sixth at about the 25-yard line, first down and 10. Quick pass and complete. Nice little hookup here as it is Constantino on the reception.
Constantino, as a tight end, really, toward the end of last year, Rob really came into his own, had a nice game against Camden Catholic on Thanksgiving, and he's going to be a big part of this offense tonight.
Working out of the shotgun, spread offense, 4 receivers set. Second down and 2. Donegan has his man, and Constantino has quickly become a favorite. First down and 10, 2 for 2 here early.
Austin Parman on the tackle for the view. Short gain is enough to move the chains for Paul the Sixth. First down and 10.
First down and 10 for Paul the Sixth. An important drive, Mark, because they have to, given everything that's happened this week, I think they need to answer back at least with something positive, and they've done that already with a first down. Inside handoff, not a whole lot there, and Fred McAlpin on the stop, big number 88. You see the linebacker, 6 foot, 190 pounds.
Led by number 5, Jacob Ilishek.
It's interesting because Paul the Sixth has not thrown the ball a whole lot. Came out throwing on the first 2 plays here tonight.
Second down, we'll call it 8. Ball at the 40-yard line of Paul the Sixth. Again, 4 receivers set. Man wide open, has him in stride, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. That was Isaiah Jones. A nice pass by Donegan, and Jones unable to reel it in.
Well, a nice pattern by Jones too, getting open like that. Obviously, he'd like to have that back. It was a little bit far, but he knows he can catch balls like that.
Again,
you know Paul Six will come back to that play too, Rob, when you see it play that open.
Isaiah Jones just simply going on a go pattern and outrunning the coverage there. Donegan's pass, as you mentioned, just a hair off the fingertips. Third down. Donegan sprints against the grain, breaks the tackle over midfield, and he'll slide to safety and a first down. Big play. And a first down for that young man, the quarterback, John Donegan, 6 foot, 165 pounds.
I'll tell you what, for Clearview, Jacob Wilishek, you know, he wishes he had that back. He was pounding the ground afterwards. He had a real good shot at him at that point.
15-yard gain for Donegan and the Eagles. First down and 10. We are inside of 7 minutes left in this first. Handoff, trying to bide his time, and it's Walters
Belichick on that tackle.
reading his blocks and just pushing forward, picking up positive yardage. Second down for the Eagles, a gain of 3.
For the Eagles.
Fred McAlpin, who you mentioned before from Clearview, number 88, a guy that's going to be very, very active tonight in there on the tackle that time.
Second down and 7. Once again out of the spread. Donegan will roll to his right with time, has a man underneath, finds him. It's his favorite target, Constantino. And look at that second effort. That should gain a first down. And you have to like what you see thus far out of Adam Constantino, the 6'2 senior.
Tackle on the play by number 18, Connor Weatherby.
You know what's interesting about Constantino? He is very effective in the middle of the field, but this is the third time that they've thrown him out in that flat area, Rob, and
First down and 10 for Paul VI.
he's done a great job after the catch as well.
Well, Paul VI has been efficient and effective here on this drive. Inside of 6 minutes remaining, they trail by 7 on the strength of a Devin Wilmer 63-yard touchdown run. Again, it's Donegan, throws, looking, and over the outstretched arms of Eric Robertson.
You know, Eric Robertson, he was an all-conference player last season on the other side of the ball on defense, and he's obviously one of the most talented players here. I think if you're Paul VI, one of the things you're happy about is your outside guys are getting open, so I think they're going to keep coming back to this until Clearview shows it can defend it.
It's certainly one of the strengths of Paul VI. They do have some speed, and they are not afraid to utilize it. We have seen here early that Donegan effective with his big right arm. Second down and 10. Donegan again throws underneath, has his man just to about the 31, 32-yard line, and this time he and Robertson able to hook up.
That's an outstanding one-on-one tackle by Sharper. You know, we talk about Sharper and his running ability, but I'll tell you what, had he not made that tackle, Robertson could have been off to the races.
Third down, we'll call it a long 6 here. Clock continues to move. Paul VI deep in Clearview territory, and you got to think likelihood here at the 31-yard line, Mark, they are in 4-down territory. We'll see on this play. Trips right and twins left. Penalty here. We may have motion against Paul VI.
False start.
That's Steve Lopes, your referee. Once again, a veteran crew on hand here tonight at Clearview. A beautiful high school and campus, Mark. Here you see the officials, Steve Lopes, Andrew Brandt, the ump, Don Henley with the Eagles tonight. How about that? Frank Lamara, the line judge, Skyle Wagner, Rich Bakley, the side judge, and the most handsome referee that we know, Bruce Davison, on the clock.
Yeah, you're just trying to curry favor because he's up here in the press box. Bruce has been around a few football games, hasn't he?
That's not very nice to say, Mark.
He's got experience.
Third down and long. Donegan throws, and that will fall incomplete. So now decision time, whether or not Hutton wants to go for it here or try to pin Clearview deep.
Once again, Paul VI had there, you can look at Brian Brown, who was open that time. But, Rob, those are good passes to try to complete and everything, but you have to hit the intermediate ones, too. We haven't seen Paul VI throw the ball over the middle yet, and as we said, Constantino, very effective work in the middle.
That was a big penalty, Mark, because they had a third down and a makeable 6 or 7 yards, and now the punt. Did he keep his knee off the ground is the question. And that finds its way into the end zone. So that'll be an interesting ruling as the bad snap had Henry Westerman picking it. And it looks like they are going to rule, in fact, that he did not have his knee touched. It'll be interesting. I don't know if we'll have a chance to see the replay on that.
Well, one thing that head coach Glenn Hutton is doing more of is throwing the ball. The Paul Six had only attempted 35 passes coming into tonight.
Well, obviously, you know, it's an opportunity for Hutton to kind of have his fingerprint on things, and that's one thing tough for the Clearview coaches is he's going to do things a little bit differently. But as you said, he's also calling plays, so it's not that much of a transition. But conversely, as a coach, maybe he sees something he thinks he can take advantage of. So first down and 10, Pioneers right up the gut. It's Willishek.
Here goes to Willishek, finds the hole on the right side. Good enough for 11 yards and another first down.
First down, Pioneers.
I'll tell you what, Willishek wasn't even touched until John Intriago made that tackle. That's a huge, huge hole.
Again, a tough kid, one of the captains on this football team. First down and 10, Pioneers. Baker keeps, Baker cuts it back inside, and very, very close to the 40-yard line. He'll be just shy of the first down. See Baker having a discussion here on this critical third down. Clearview would love to extend that lead here early. They have looked rock solid offensively thus far. Wilmer in motion, Baker will hand off, and this will be more than enough for the first down, and that's Sharper.
You know what's interesting? Sharper's only 175 pounds, and they don't mind running him in between the tackles. As you saw there, really tough running. Now, he can obviously get outside as well, but showing some pretty tough inside running there, Rob.
First down and 10, 47-yard line. The clock continues to move here in Mullica Hill. Pioneers, again, out of that option offense. Two receivers set, split to the left. Baker hands off right up the gut, and Willishek picks up about 3.
You know how strong Willishek is? He was hit by Constantino right at the line of scrimmage, and he dragged him a couple yards. There's a look at Constantino. Great two-way player for this Ball 6 team.
Second down and 7, balls nose right at the midfield mark. Clearview has yet to throw the football. Baker throws. Wilmer cuts it inside. Wilmer on his feet, caught from behind. Well, right on cue, Mark, they throw the football, and Wilmer again picking up a big chunk. All the way to the 21-yard line, a 29-yard pass.
You know, Alan Tucker, number 11, was right there, and that was a tremendous move by Wilmer to kind of leave him in his tracks that time.
First and 10 again, Pioneers. They continue to move the football against this Paul VI defense. Baker hands it. Willishek continues to pound forward and finally tackled. Stop made by Keanu Williams.
And again, you know, Williams is a guy that's a pretty big guy, and he was dragged a couple yards that time again by Willishek.
Second down and 5. Clearview firing on all pistons. Willishek right up the gut. Willishek down to the 10.
Tackled by 20, J.J. Waters.
That'll be a first down.
That run's good enough for a first down.
And it looks like it's spotted
First and goal from the 10
right inside the 10. So that'll be first down and goal for the Pioneers here, and they'll look to double their lead. Baker keeps. Baker caught from behind. Fine play made by Demetrius Hudson. Maybe a yard on the play. Second down and goal.
That's a great play by Hudson, the 6'1", 205 junior, chasing Baker, who has good speed down from the backside. So you know what kind of speed Hudson has as well.
Wilczek in the backfield. Wilmer, it's Baker. Baker driving forward, and Baker with a nice pickup there, and that's just a quarterback read. We talked before about Baker really understanding the nuances of this offense. There he saw a seam that he could exploit, and he did well to get that inside the 5-yard line.
Saw Justin Mulholland there, number 52. You know what's interesting about this Clearview offensive line, Rob? Only one senior, so this is a relatively young unit, and has really been gelling.
Timeout called on the field, no indication.
Timeout called on the field.
Looks like it was against, or excuse me, it will be Paul VI who calls the timeout. A critical play here, 3rd down and goal. And this is kind of a must stop, you feel like, for Paul VI. They have the offense here, but again, you know, you have to question from an emotional and mental standpoint whether or not Paul VI can continue to allow the Pioneers to score, given it's been a tough week for him.
Well, not only that, this is an offense, and it's interesting. They call it the Army offense. I saw Army run it this year against Temple, and it can really discourage teams once you get it going and everything like that.
3rd down and goal. Again, Wilczek in the backfield. Interesting formation here as 2 linemen line up over to the right of the football in the backfield. They'll give it to Wilczek. He'll drive forward, and he won't make it. So a big hit laid out by quite a few of the Eagles, but led by Alan Tucker, the junior. And decision time for Mark Deal as it's 4th down and goal. They'll have an opportunity to talk about it as that will end the first quarter. We head to break on the Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. The Clearview Pioneers on top by 7. Welcome back to Clearview High School, and we just caught the tail end of the touchdown. Clearview pushes it in, and they extend their lead. They'll try to double it here with the extra point. 11th play of the drive culminates in a 1-yard touchdown.
55, Aiden Romano getting one of the blocks in there, and I've been really impressed by this offensive line at Clearview.
Timeout on the field here.
There's a false start here.
False start.
So that'll back the Pioneers up 5 yards. And they'll try it again. Again, Christian Hagens now with a relatively lengthy extra point, and this one is blocked. So a minor victory here for Paul VI, as Clearview now with just a 13-0 lead after the blocked attempted extra point.
Of course, Paul VI had won the West Jersey Football League Constitution title the previous 2 years, Rob, and moved into the National Division this year.
11 plays, 80 yards. Jared Baker on the 1-yard touchdown run. Guess in the interest of full disclosure here, Mark, you know, this Clearview coaching staff very familiar. As you know, I used to spend some time at Gateway, so Kevin Leamy, a former Gator, Steve Duncan, one of the assistant coaches, played baseball for me at Gateway, and currently at Eastern, one of my assistant coaches, Derek Reagan, who coached underneath Clyde Folsom at West Deptford last year, works here in the district. He's now one of the football coaches here, so fine staff Mark Deal has assembled here.
Yeah, you talked about Mark Deal coaching Joe Flacco in high school at Audubon. He actually coached Joe his sophomore and junior year, and then he went on, and I believe he took the Gateway job, so Ralph Shivo coached him his senior year, but he remained very close to Joe Flacco. In fact, when the Ravens played in the Super Bowl, Mark Deal was down there. One of many people that Joe Flacco invited. Certainly never forgot his high school roots, for sure.
What a great story. In fact, I had his brother Tom, and I joked with his father, when Tom makes it to the Super Bowl, promise me I'm going. Inside of the 10-yard line, nice return here, cut down at the 28 is Robertson, first down and 10 for Paul VI.
For people that don't know, Tom Flacco, a couple years back, was our Inquirer South Jersey Athlete of the Year, played for Rob at Eastern, was an all-South Jersey baseball player, tremendous quarterback, played basketball, a three-sport guy.
He did, and he's now at Western Michigan, who is having quite a year, a couple wins against Big Ten teams, and a couple weeks ago, they were the only team in the nation to have 2 wins against Big Ten teams. And Flacco, second stringer there. They're expecting big things. He's going to likely be a starter there soon. P.J. Fleck, a former Rutgers assistant, is the head coach there. They've done a nice job. First down and 10 for Paul VI. And just not much running room, as we see once again that Brian Brown, who is a guy that Clearview kind of pointed out they're going to need to stop him, and they did on that play.
Well, I'll tell you what, Danny Rios, number 62 for Clearview, got initial penetration that time, and Brown actually did a pretty good job just getting the 2 yards that he got, because Rios was in there very quickly.
Ball spotted at the 30-yard line. We'll say it's a gain of 2, second down and 8. 4-receiver set. Donegan against the grain, throws underneath. Has Robertson, but unable to hold on.
It's interesting that Paul VI continues to use the outside of the field. I think if they try going in the middle of the field, there's going to be some opening there.
And again, Mark, I hate to harp on it, you just kind of get a sense that Paul VI needs to start garnering some momentum here. This is a big third down for Paul VI.
Well, one thing you like about Donegan, he can throw on the run, and especially that's a tough throw that to the left side. That a right-handed guy like that, and he
trips left for Donegan. Throws underneath. As his man just kind of dumps the screen, and now winding his way across midfield, still on his feet is Bird, and Bird finally flushed out of bounds, but that's a fine pickup. Excuse me, it's actually Jones, Isaiah Jones, the receiver.
Didn't we just say the middle of the field was open?
No, you said it.
He had the screen right there, and I think Paul VI will work that a little bit more as we go along. Jones, explosive speed, we saw at that time.
30-yard reception. And again, just a little dump screen, using that Clearview aggressiveness against them.
There he goes to the outside. Clearview right there. Austin Carmen, 4, thought he had him pinned in. Used the speed to go another gear.
They'll hand it off to Brown. Brown into the secondary, explodes, and slung down at about the 20-yard line.
I'll tell you what, Rob, that was an explosive run that time, but did you see the tackle that time by Sharper? He's about as good a one-on-one tackler as we've seen this year.
20-yard carry by Brown, and now Paul VI starting to move the football. The play by Jones has really ignited them. Again, it's going to be Brown. Brown breaking tackles, cuts across the grain, and finally taken down. And you see some of the explosiveness.
You also saw some explosiveness from 88, Fred McAlpin, whose number we've called a lot. He blew in there, and he didn't make the tackle, but he got a piece of him. He slowed him down. That's an excellent play by McAlpin.
Second down, we'll call it a short 6, 10 minutes remaining here in this first half. Paul VI knocking on the door, their deepest penetration thus far. trips right for Donegan. Goes to the left, throws it up, and well defended as Sharper would have none of it.
Sharper almost had it. That's tremendous one-on-one coverage. You know, we talked about him in the pregame show, what an explosive runner he is. There you saw the play before, McAlpin getting a piece of him and at least slowing him down that time. But I'll tell you what, Sharper, step for step, sure tackler, just a tremendous two-way player here.
So again, we mentioned this before, probably 4-down territory for Paul VI. They would love to get a first down right here. 3rd down with 9:46 remaining. Rocket screen, Robertson, and flag thrown. Looks like we're gonna have holding here against Paul VI.
Came down to the 2-yard line, there was a flag on the play.
And that hold came late in the play too, Rob.
That penalty's holding.
So actually, I think they're marking it at the 14, so he'll actually gain a yard on that. They should move it back to the 24, we'll see.
Again, it is a spot foul in high school.
Make it the 23.
10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul, moves it back to the 23-yard line.
Right? Hey, tell that to Margo too.
So a 3rd down now. About 13 yards to go.
I think if you're Clearview, you're saying to yourself, let's watch the screen. Paul VI has had some effectiveness there. Look, trips on the left side now.
Each time Paul VI has looked like they were going to come up big, a penalty has stopped him. Donegan rolling to his left, cuts it back inside, and met by 3 separate Pioneers led by Stephen Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn, 6'1", 208. There's a good look at him, number 34. Sometimes Donegan likes to roll to his left and then come back the other side. Glenn wouldn't let him do it that time.
7-yard sack, and at this point it looks like they're going to go for it. It's going to be 4th down and 20, but they're so deep, they're going to try to roll the dice here, whether they throw underneath or just hang one up in the end zone. We'll see. 4 receivers set. Twin split left and right. Donegan over the middle, and there's a penalty flag down as the pass falls incomplete. We'll see who this is against.
There was a flag on the play.
And a chop block will likely be declined.
For a chop block.
So it'll be Clearview ball again. Clearview really been effective on this triple option.
When can I get my bag?
And the penalty is declined. Ball turned over on downs. 8:47 remaining in this first half. Clearview on top 13-0. And again, they will take over at their 30-yard line. Paul VI has yet to stop the Pioneer offense. Hutton looking for some clarification and some guidance as to what exactly transpired. And his first game as the head coach here, probably not how he game planned it. Very little time to prepare. Clearview again continuing to be successful. Garrett Baker has been impressive. Pickup of 8, 2nd down and 2.
When you're that deceptive as a ball handler, as a quarterback, you're just that much more effective as you get a good look at Mark Deal talking to Baker right now.
When you're a team that can successfully run the football, Mark, that's a big win, not only from an offensive standpoint, but your defense is fresh.
No question.
7th season for Deal. And Wilmer very close to a first down. Depending on the spot, it looks like he's going to have it.
Nice tackle, though, by Intriago, number 25. He's been in on a couple times. Didn't let Wilmer break away that time. Wilmer really explosive and impressive here. The problem with defending Clearview, look how many guys we've called who've carried the ball already. I mean, there isn't just that one person. And that's where the defense is having a lot of trouble.
Wilmer, Sharper, Baker, Bulashek. And again, right up the gut. And right now, this is another, right on cue, Anthony Trezera, a new man to touch the football, Mark. Really spreading the wealth.
And Rob, there was not any deception there. That was just straight ahead football. Great blocking.
Second down. Baker hands, and Paul VI able to mitigate Trezera's gain, maybe a couple of yards.
Well, Demetrius Hudson, number 5 for Paul VI, stacked that up.
Paul VI tackled by 77, Cameron Flax.
And he was a guy that actually made the first hit on that play.
Third down, and breaking tackles, Baker. Baker over the 20. Touchdown.
50-yard run by Jarrett Baker.
Jarrett Baker, 50-yard touchdown scamper, his second touchdown of the night.
Rob, not only do you see the power of Baker, you saw the extra gear he has. I mean, you don't see many 50-yard runs on quarterback sneaks. Paul VI had a chance late in that play to get him. I believe it was Intriago who can really move. And Baker just broke away.
They'll go for the 2-point conversion, and it will fail. So Clearview with a 19-0 lead here with 6:35 left in this first half.
That conversion failed. 6 minutes, 35 seconds left. 19-0 Clearview.
5 plays, 70 yards. Looked a little too easy for Clearview there, Mark.
They did get an initial surge on the blocking, but Baker, that was a play, Rob, where he showed everything. He showed his power to kind of get through the line, and then he really showed his speed.
Here it is, Mark.
Look, there's a huge hole in there. He broke it off there. And as you said, as I said before, Intriago right there, and he just outran him. Sammy Iqbal, number 70, with a tremendous block there.
Well, Paul VI certainly not out of this game, trailing 19-0. But again, in critical situations, Mark, that a penalty has hurt them, and that's something they're going to have to put an end to.
By the way, it's important, as we mentioned, for both teams for playoff consideration. But how about Paul VI in non-public Group 4, where 6 of the teams are already guaranteed a spot with this crazy rule that the NJSIAA
Some of these teams are getting more power points when losing than the teams that beat them, if it were to happen.
Just because teams won't play these North Jersey teams, and I'm telling you, Rob, they're going to vote in December, the member schools, on whether they should have a sectional championship in South Jersey, and certainly I'm hoping that passes. I don't know if it will or not, but South Jersey deserves it for the non-publics. There'll be much more interest.
Kick taken inside the 10-yard line, and it's Robertson still on his feet, finally cut down. Nice return by Robertson over to the 28-yard line. Excuse me, that's Jones. Let's Twice I got Jones wrong. I'll get him right the third time. So Jones has been active.
I'll tell you, they both can fly.
Ball to 6 from the 28-yard line.
There's the National Division, Clearview, of course, with the one loss coming to Timber Creek.
You know, the surprise there, of course, is Delsey at 1-3, but Delsey has not had an easy schedule whatsoever. Their one victory coming against Paul VI, but easier games on the horizon for Delsey.
Yeah, I would expect the 4-time defending Group 3 champs to be there again.
Screen pass that has worked well for this Paul VI offense, continues to do so. Pickup of about 7 or 8 yards, and it's Robertson. Of course, we had Delsey on opening night against Timber Creek, who I don't know who's going to beat them, Mark. And then they go to Cedar Creek, another defending champion. And those first 2 games, it's tough to think of 2 tougher games to start your season off.
Hey, how about Camden last week handling Cedar Creek? That was an eye-opener there.
Again, another screen, and it's going to be Robertson once again. Robertson veers towards the sideline, and he should have enough for the first down. So
I'll tell you what, Clearview's doing a great job on those screens. Yes, they're getting a few yards. You're up 19. They're just stretching the field.
Now, Mark, you are a historian of South Jersey sports. I can't think of a better man to speak to about this. So Camden High School is now going to go by the way of the wrecking ball. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, so much history there. They're going to build a new high school there. It's going to be completed in 2021. All of that, the great tradition of that gym.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rob. I'm all for anything new, so you know, it would be great. Great for the kids. Great for the community. So.
Some mixed reaction there. Some people would love to keep the tradition, but again, there's a lot to be said to walking in the doors of a brand new school, and of course you build your new traditions, right?
No question. I saw a lot of good games in that gym. I'll never forget one game, Rob. It was 1982. It was Billy Thompson was there at Camden. Kevin Walls were there. They won a state championship that year. Dunbar of Baltimore came in and beat them by 28.
Wow.
Muggsy Bogues,
Yep.
who had a long NBA career.
Yep.
David Wingate in the NBA.
Yep.
Reggie Williams. That may have been the best high school team I've seen. Bob Wade was the coach back then. It was a lot of memories, but there were a lot of great teams that came in that gym over the years.
And often Brown with some positive yardage. Wingate and Williams both played at Georgetown, if I recall.
That's exactly right. And I think like their 5th starter was a guy named Tim Dawson, who actually got a Division I scholarship to Miami. And so, I mean, that was a loaded team. And of course, Camden's had a few good ones over the years.
I would say so. You know, you mentioned Walls and Thompson. Of course, Milt Wagner right up there as maybe the greatest to play.
You know, it's interesting. We'll get through this play first.
And Donegan in a whole lot of trouble, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah, Glenn was right there. There you see Glenn. That's the 2nd time he's gotten great penetration in the backfield for Clearview.
There's a penalty flag on the play.
Flag down. We'll see who this is against. It's likely to go against Paul VI. Holding, Eagles.
He'll decline that out.
Holding on Paul VI. That penalty is declined.
Look at Glenn. That was a different play that time. I'm sorry. I thought it was the last play, but you saw that when they had double teamed him that time, and may have to do it a lot more tonight. Oh, by the way, Rob, I think one of the best Camden teams was one that never won, that 81 team that lost to Neptune in the state semis at Princeton with Milt Wagner and Billy Thompson, Kevin Walls on that team.
Donegan throws it up, and nobody home.
Donegan's long pass.
I'll tell you what, there you see Sharper. He even retrieves the ball and gives it to the official. He has been like glue. He has been anyone he's been covering, they have had no space, no separation against Sharper.
Well, if you're Paul VI right now, again, you're looking for kind of just moral victories. And I think it's critical for them to try to keep it to a 19-0 deficit. Another touchdown here, and it's likely out of reach. High snap, and the punt. Westerman gets away a pretty good one. It will roll inside the 35-yard line down to about the 32.
And that punt will be down by number 8, Adam Constantino, at the 32-yard line.
Well, you mentioned
1st and 10 for you.
That Clearview in Group 4 looking to build upon their success here. Timber Creek, of course, a team to be reckoned with. And I know, Mark, the last time we spoke, you really liked Cherokee a lot. Of course, they're a little behind the 8 ball at this point, but you can never count out a Cherokee team.
I think that they're going to make serious noise in Group 5. Remember, their 2 losses were to Timber Creek and Shawnee by a total of 10 points.
Hand off inside, and again, it's Baker. And, you know, talking about Timber Creek, you know, and speaking with a few of the coaches around South Jersey, it's pretty much a consensus. The ones that I have spoken to, Mark, have said that Devin Leary's the best they've seen.
Well, the thing about Leary, and he's only a junior for Timber Creek, and I was at the game you were, that opening game, he throws the deep ball as well as anybody, and he has all the other throws in his arsenal as well.
2nd down and 4 for Baker, and Baker again right up the middle, and that's just something that can't happen. 1st down and 10, Pioneers. Getting back to Leary, you know, watching Leary, Mark, I see a kid that has composure. I see a kid who has a strong arm. I see a kid who has touch. And I see a kid who has great vision. I'm not sure what else you need. I think if there's one thing that maybe he's missing is something that God hasn't provided yet.
The tape measure, yeah. Yeah, he's about 6'1.5", 6'2", but, you know, he may not be finished growing either.
That's right. 111 yards on the half thus far for Baker, and he'll hand it right up the gut. And again, he is spreading the ball and the wealth. Trezera with the carry, and again, Clearview has to be very pleased with this first half performance.
Tackled on the play by 25 in Triago.
And what, just the one passing attempt? Well, you don't need to when you're controlling the line of scrimmage the way the Pioneers are.
That's right. As Fred Schwartz pointed out last week, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad on the pass, and they've been running the football effectively here. Penalty, and this would be maybe one of the few times that Clearview ends up going in the opposite direction, and purely out of their own volition.
Anthony Moran, number 12 that time, making a nice stop there.
Illegal shift. 2nd down for the Pioneers.
March Clearview back to the 49-yard line.
Rob, you know, we talk about South Jersey Group 4. How about Cherry Hill West starting off at 4-0?
They have a big game tonight.
With Pensalkin.
Baker. And Baker cut down as the pocket collapses. And maybe Paul VI able to start generating some momentum here.
Yeah.
Result of the sack brings up 3rd down and 10.
51 on the tackle. We have no one listed on the Paul VI roster as a 51, so I certainly don't want to guess on that play. But 3rd down and 10 for the Pioneers. Paul VI shows blitz. Baker hands off. A Statue of Liberty play, essentially, and this is going to be more than enough for the 1st down. Trezera with the big pickup, and that's a heartbreaker for Paul VI. Call it a draw, Statue of Liberty, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it effective.
I'll tell you, Trezera is just a sophomore. You know, Clearview had a very good freshman team last year. Just lost 2 close games, but and they've had a lot of sophomores make some contributions on this team, and obviously Trezera one of them. You just love Baker's ball handling skills too, even on that play.
First down and 10. And again, Trezera. You mentioned before that they have really spread the football around, and now it's been the Trezera show after Willishek got the bulk of the carries earlier.
You know, we haven't even seen Sharper that much carry the ball. We know how explosive he is, although he's had a standout game at defense. There you see 36 in the picture.
He certainly has, and there you see Wilmer also coming into your picture, and he's had himself a solid football game, and he started the scoring here with that 63-yard touchdown. Baker, 3-step drop, has a man, and falls incomplete. And you can see Sharper is upset because no one covered Sharper.
Yeah, and that ball was thrown into double coverage. Baker's fortunate it just went incomplete.
Get a good look at Matthew Gray, the senior wide receiver. Intended receiver on that play. Sharper, as I mentioned, the double coverage gravitated to Gray, leaving Sharper uncovered.
Usually on these third down plays, they just let Baker make the decision. Keep the ball in his hands and see what he does.
Baker rolls, setting up the screen. He dumps and almost picked off. That could have went pick 6. Constantino, who has certainly made his mark offensively, almost doing the damage defensively. So
well, what he did, he read that screen right away, Rob, perfectly. He was a little off balance. It would have been an unbelievable play if he were able to catch it.
4th down and 3, and the timeout called by Clearview. So this is right on the edge of Hagen's range. And I think that given that it's just 3 yards, Mark Deal and staff more prone to go for it here and add to that 19-point lead.
I don't think there's any question.
You see the offensive points per game. Clearview has had their way, 30 points per game. And they've also given up a few, but the number's a little bit skewed having played Timber Creek. So Paul VI has already allowed more points in this first half than they have averaged thus far this season. So a critical play here for Baker and this offense. 4th and 3 with 32 seconds left. Baker, again, quick drop, flushed out of the pocket. Baker throws it, wide open, touchdown! Well-designed play, and Sharper comes away with it. Clearview now on top, 25-0.
Well, you said Sharper told him he was open before. He said it again. I'll tell you what, Rob, when you look at this play, there's Sharper. He's pretty happy about this. When you look at this play, Baker had a lot of running room had he wanted it as well.
Again, you see this unusual set for the extra point. Clearview, and they're going to call timeout and make sure they get it right. Last time it disintegrated before our very eyes. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to see that touchdown pass once again. So Baker has scored a couple and thrown for one. This home crowd enjoying things at Clearview. And Mark, if you're Coach Hutton at halftime, what do you say?
You know, you just want to try to establish one drive and see if you can get there. You're not going to make all 25, or if it is 26 points up at once. By the way, Baker showed his great athletic ability, Rob. You know, he's one of the better lacrosse players in South Jersey. He's had 1 or 2 Division I offers there, or all South Jersey selection. just some great athletic ability.
There you see head coach Mark Deal. And again, they will go for 2 here. Baker wide open, 27-0 as Baker connects with Eric Riley, the senior tight end.
That's that old pop pass to the tight end.
Well, the difficult week for Paul VI continues here. Down 27 points to Clearview, and a 9-play, 69-yard drive culminating in a 25-yard touchdown reception by Jair Sharper.
You know, Rob, no question about it. It's been a rough week for Paul VI, but that takes nothing away from what Clearview has done.
Absolutely.
They've been just firing off the ball on both sides of the ball, and after, you know, a disheartening loss to Timber Creek, where they not only lost the game, but they had a bunch of injuries, to come back like this, pretty impressive.
Well, you know, I mentioned in the open, Mark, I thought the first quarter was going to be critical because, you know, for Paul VI, there has to be some semblance of doubt, and if they could come away with a strong first quarter, then they could build on that success. It just didn't happen, and things are falling apart before our very eyes. 27-0 here with 26 seconds remaining, and at this point, as you mentioned, just try to play it a series at a time, a play at a time, and maybe come away with something special on special teams. Again, it's going to be Jones. Jones, 25-yard line, and thrown down. We'll see whether or not Hutton wants to roll the dice or take a knee and just try to regroup.
Brought down on the play number 40, Kevin Hayden.
Normally I hate to give away a play or anything like that, so, I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to seeing them send somebody on a fly pattern, but I also, maybe taking a knee might be the best thing to regroup here.
Clearview will take on Vineland in their next game and hope to continue to build on this momentum they've generated. First down and 10. And the handoff. Driving over people and still on his feet is the man that we talked about in the open, J.J. Vaughters.
Who has not had a whole lot of action here in this first half offensively.
Timeout, Paul VI.
Well, now maybe, as you mentioned, Mark, you just throw one downfield and hope something positive happens. You know, after Vineland there at Cherry Hill East, who's had a rough go of it, and, you know, before you know it, Clearview could be on quite a run.
Well, here's the thing, though. How about Vineland 4-0 this year, already surpassing its win total from a year ago? So, you know, the Fighting Clan, who has a very good junior class, will be a tough game for Clearview, but as we're seeing here tonight, it'll be a tough game for Vineland as well.
Vineland really hasn't been tested thus far. I mean, they have really kind of run over their opponents, so it should be a good matchup next week.
But there have been many years where Vineland wouldn't win those games.
No,
so
absolutely.
So that's the thing.
I'm just pointing out this is a strong Vineland team.
Right.
So again, just 9 seconds left here for the Eagles. And you see 5 receiver package. Empty backfield for Donegan. Donegan, step up in the pocket, he'll keep. Donegan thrown down to the ground. And Donegan able to call timeout with 2.5 seconds left. So 1 play remaining. There is a penalty flag, however. And it's going to be holding against Paul VI, so the troubles continue for the Eagles.
Remember, Rob, when Phil Bernuzzi took over this year, before he resigned, he took over for John Doherty, who had a tremendous 13-year run at Paul VI. Remember, this had been one of the, for lack of better words, worst programs in South Jersey, and Doherty They went 0-10 his first year. You know, they didn't turn it around right away. But after that, they started getting it going. They were a perennial playoff team. As we mentioned, they're a two-time defending champion in the Constitution Division.
Produced an NFL player.
Yes, and Jonathan Grimes, who played with Glenn Hutton here at Paul VI. And John Doherty, I understand, is at Eastern now as coaching football. So
well, that'll do it. We'll talk some more about this Paul VI program. And Clearview has really flexed their muscles in this first half. Your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. First half, it's been all Clearview. Welcome back to Clearview High School. The opening kick for this second half finds its way to Jones. He's been a busy man as Clearview has had their fair share of success offensively, and Paul VI will look to answer back to start things in this second half. Donegan and the rest of the crew will look to move the football. They've been successful moving the football in the first half. However, they have shot themselves in the foot on 3 separate occasions with penalties. You take a look, and Mark, total plays almost even, and again, passing yards, rushing yards, certainly one-sided, and first downs almost even. If you take away the yardage there up on rushing, you would think that this is a close football game.
Well, keep in mind, Clearview got a bunch of the first downs on long TD runs, so.
Paul VI will look to go to the run game. J.J. Vaughters, who we spoke about at the open.
I don't think they really established much with Vaughters, only a couple carries, and he's the kind of guy that gets stronger as he gets the carry. So let's see if they go to him a little bit more here in the second half.
I remember, Paul VI did start out with some success. Constantino, a pair of catches, and then things just got away from him. So again, they will go to the ground, Vaughters, and you can see why many people love this young man.
You know what's funny? On that play, Austin Carmen, number 4, did not make the tackle for Clearview, but he forced everything inside. It's a kind of unsung play that doesn't always get recognized. Nice job there.
See, Vaughters heads to the sideline after the first down carry. First down and 10, so some positives to start here for Paul VI as they start again with one man in the backfield, the pitch, and it's going to be Brown. Brown cuts it back, and not much there.
Wow, Rob, on that play, 34 again. Steve Glynn didn't make the play, but he got in that backfield so quickly that he forced them to go outside a little bit more than he wanted to, stretched it out, and then Clearview was able to make the tackle. Glynn has been pretty unstoppable here.
There you see Baker. He's done quite a job as well offensively. He hasn't had to do much defensively, and that's a credit to the rest of this Clearview team. But Baker over the century mark yardage-wise on the ground. 2 touchdowns, scores, and 1 touchdown pass. Donegan fakes the handoff, throws, has his man. It's Constantino, and again, another first down. So Paul VI trying to generate some momentum and make things happen.
Rob, on that play, number 51, Isaiah Riggs, who made a couple big defensive plays in the first half, just leveled a Clearview player and gave Donegan that extra second to throw the ball. Excellent job by Riggs.
Well, Paul VI, I mean, they would love to make something happen here. 4 scores, and it's a different football game. I know that's a lot, but they can score a touchdown here, a turnover, and it gets interesting. Handoff right up the gut, and not much there. Maybe a yard for Brown.
Into the pile for no gain.
I'll tell you what, Rob. Clearview has not been able to, or Paul VI has not been able to block 88 Fred McAlpin all evening. He was in the backfield again that time.
Second down and 9, ball at midfield for Paul VI. They have penetrated deeply into Clearview territory, but nothing to show, trailing 27-0 here in this third quarter.
Plays like this, Donegan has been rolling out. We'll see, yeah.
Donegan rolls to his right, has his man, and in and out of the hands, and
Donegan's rollout pass.
knocked down
Number 7.
is Robertson.
Falls incomplete.
Well, what Robertson did was the cardinal sin of receivers. He looked upfield briefly, took his eye off the ball. Now, he has tremendous speed. Remember, he was open going deep early in the game. I think they'll revisit that sometime here.
And this has been kind of the story tonight for Paul VI, Mark. They move the football and then they hit a speed bump. 3rd down and 10 at midfield for the Eagles. Again, 4 receiver set. Donegan straight back over the middle, has his man across the 30. Cuts inside through the middle of the football field, and finally brought down is Isaiah Jones.
Great explosion. James Vargo, by the way, number 7, saved a touchdown there that time for Clearview. Here you look around. Tremendous protection that time. And he had to loft that ball over, actually, Vargo, and then Vargo stays with it and makes the tackle.
Vargo, a fine play. 42-yard touchdown, reception. And inside the 10-yard line now. 1st down and goal for Paul VI. I formation, Donegan hands off, and we're going to have a penalty flag. So the story remains the same. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Steve Lopes and crew have been busy tonight. Procedure, Eagles.
Boy, Paul VI has been really, really hurt by the penalties here tonight.
5-yard penalty.
Still goal to go here for Paul VI, trailing by 27.
Let's see if Donegan rolls to his left this time. He, as I said, when they get in these long yardage situations, that's what he seems to do.
Waters gets the handoff. Waters on his feet, and he'll pick up about 4.
Wow, Salamato, there you see him, 57 picking up. Got the first hit that time. Just exploded. Clearview not overly big up front, but has really good quickness among the interior linemen.
2nd and goal.
One thing we haven't seen is Walters in the passing game.
Trips left, rocket screen. Robertson towards the end zone. Touchdown! Eric Robertson with the 13-yard reception.
You know, Rob, Constantino didn't get a block that leveled people, but got in the way just enough to create some trouble for the defense.
So Paul VI will add to their total, and it's now 27-7 Pioneers. Well, Paul VI dialing up a touchdown here, just what they needed. And let's take a look.
Watch us see to the left side of your screen, number 8. Just does enough right there to get in the way and make the Constantino to make the room that time, and Robertson knew what to do with it. He was pretty pumped up. He's saying, thanks for that block.
Chris Waystra, Century 21 Premier Realty. Perry Resources,
10-play, 75-yard drive culminating in the Eric Robertson 13-yard touchdown reception from Donegan. And Mark, that screen pass has been their primary weapon tonight.
There's no question about it. By the way, that's Robertson's first touchdown reception of the season.
Now, Paul VI is going to have to do something they haven't been able to do all night, Mark, and that's stop Clearview.
Well, at least one thing, they're pretty pumped up about scoring. Oh, that's a tough one now. They'll get it out in the 35.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
As a result, the Pioneers will take over at the 35-yard line.
Well, Jarrett Baker, as we have mentioned, has had himself quite an evening already, and we're only through a little over 1/2 of play. He has a touchdown pass to Sharper and has scored a pair himself, including a 50-yard touchdown run. And he will take over the offense once again. As you mentioned, an accomplished lacrosse player who has shown his athleticism throughout the evening here. First and 10. Handoff and back to Willishek. This is kind of how things started in the first half. It's deja vu. Willishek powering his way forward for about 8 or 9.
How many yards has Willishek made after the initial contact? He is a tough player to bring down.
Second down, we'll call it 1 for Baker and the Pioneers. Seven men in the box for Paul VI. And it'll be close to a first down. It looks like they're going to mark it just shy. We'll see. There you see Baker.
Tackle on the play by number 50. Vincent Fear.
By the way, you mentioned Mark Deal there had also coached at Audubon, Gateway, also coached at Maple Shade, and in all 3 times he took over programs that had been struggling, and he elevated them. They weren't powers at any of those schools, but they were better when he got there, and he's done a nice job here at Clearview as well. First time he's gotten to coach at a Group 4 size school, a bigger school.
Baker hit at about the 49-yard line and took over for Coach Pidcock, and just one of the true gentlemen of the sport. You know, some of these guys are now retiring, Coach Pidcock, and you have Tony Barchuk over at Kingsway, guys that just so much football knowledge and always true gentlemen. Always a lot of fun to cover their teams, and those two were arch rivals for many years.
Well, in the old Tri-County Royal Division, right?
Mm-hmm. Thanksgiving Day. Ball at midfield, second down. Baker surveying the defense, and we'll have a whistle.
Penalty flag on the field.
The delay of game, is it? Yep.
Delay of game, Clearview.
Thus far, it's about the only thing that has stopped Clearview.
Well, what happened was the tight end Eric Riley stepped up that time, and it looked like he was going to jump off sides, but he got back in. He got back in his stance. Then I thought that Baker was maybe audibling the play, and whatever. It's 5 yards.
Second down, and here's another 5. And this is always a concern for many, Coach Mark, is when it gets too easy, then all of a sudden you let down a little bit. You know, you get a little bit lazier, you get a little bit self-content, and that's a concern. Second down, 15 after a pair of 5-yard penalties for Baker and the Pioneers. Baker drops, throws, Sharper, well over Sharper, the intended receiver.
You know, that time was good one-on-one coverage by 25, Johnny and Tarago. Sharper, not an easy guy, isolated like that to keep in check.
Third and 15. All the 6 hoping for a stop. That would be the first punt of the night for the Pioneers. Baker with 3 receivers. Deep drop, sets up the screen, throws underneath. And it's caught by Sharper. But it will be well short of the first down.
Tackled by Devin Rand.
I think on that screen, he threw it a little before he wanted to, but he had no choice because of the rush that time.
21, Christian Hagan.
Devin Rand on the stop for Paul VI, and something we haven't seen yet tonight, a Clearview punt, as we are just over 4 minutes remaining in this third quarter, and it's a good one. The punt will bounce at about the 23 and be downed at about the 12.
Excellent kick by Higgins down to the 12-yard line.
So Higgins
Where Paul VI will take over first down.
showing off that powerful right leg, the transfer from Lenape High School. 3:59 left in the third quarter, and Paul VI will try to build on the momentum they've generated thus far. Paul VI has shown the ability to make big plays. They have some athleticism in their wide receiving core and certainly some talented runners in Brown and Vaughters. Good opportunity for them to make things interesting here.
And we mentioned, Rob, early in the game with Isaiah Jones and with Robertson, they have shown the ability to get open deep.
Donegan working out of the I formation. And again, another penalty. Offsides, Clearview. So it's interesting, you know, Clearview starting to shoot itself in the foot. 3 penalties in rapid succession here. 3 out of the last 5 plays or so, and the Pioneers are going to have to regroup and get it together.
You know, they were going to go to Volders on that play, and we talked about the needing to kind of establish him and establish a running game despite being, you know, down by 20. Still plenty of time.
First down and 5, again out of the I formation. Twins left. And the handoff. Looks like the ball is loose. At least that is what Clearview is contending. And the referees are having none of it.
Connor Weatherby, number 18, had a pretty hard jarring tackle that time for Clearview.
Brandon Holloman on the tackle. Result of the run is good enough for a first down.
So Paul VI able to move the sticks for Donegan and get out of the way of that end zone they were backed up against. I formation once again. They're going to keep it on the ground. And again, there you see the power of J.J. Vaughters.
Clearview's still doing a pretty good job, though, of trying to string him outside. I think when he runs directly and runs straight, he is more effective.
There you see McAlpin coming off the field. You mentioned before, Mark, he's had himself quite a night. He has been all over the field.
Yeah, one would think he will not be out very long.
Second down and 4. Trips right. Donegan, hands off. And not a whole lot there. In fact, maybe a loss of 1.
That was Glenn again. You know, he's another one. There you see 34. He's been in the backfield about as much as the Paul VI running backs tonight. A really, really explosive. They've had trouble dealing with his quickness.
Glenn, 6'1", 208 pounds. He's a senior. And a big third down now, and 5 for Paul VI. Donegan, hands, counter, bulling his way forward, and just shy of the first down. And now with another effort, Vaughters may have gotten it. We'll see whether they give him forward progress. They may have blown the whistle before that happened.
I'll tell you what, I would go for it here, Rob.
I would agree.
It's under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
You know, maybe you try to go hard count so that you can take advantage of the aggressiveness of this Clearview defense.
And I wouldn't go. I would go to Vaughters, but I would just go up the middle. Again, he's been trying to go outside, and Clearview's had success with that.
And they'll hand it off, and it's going to be very close to a first down. No indication yet. It is a first down.
How about Isaiah Riggs, 51 there, who's made some huge defensive plays, getting the ball on the first down.
First down and 10. 1:15 and counting remaining in this third quarter. 4 receiver set. Donegan throws down the middle into coverage, picked off. Right into the heart of that defense, and picking it off, it's Baker. He's had himself quite a night.
Well, one thing I don't understand, they had been running, they had been establishing on the ground, and on first down, they went for the pass.
Now, obviously, we can see it a little bit easier up here, but there was just nothing there for Donegan, and it was almost just hope upon hope.
Well, if you noticed originally, he looked to his right as if they were going to have a screen right. Clearview had that defended, and Baker right there. And Baker knows what to do with it once he gets the ball.
So first down and 10 for Clearview. And Paul VI had thoughts of coming right back, and Jared Baker put a stop to that. Sharper.
I thought Sharper moved a hair early, no flag.
Carries a man for a couple more. Winding down, probably one more play left in this third quarter. Second down and 4. Quick handoff, and that's Trezera. That'll be our last play in this third quarter. Your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. We'll head to the fourth with Clearview on top by 20. Welcome back to Clearview High School. Rob Chris along with Marc Narducci on the GCEN, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Clearview on top 27-7, and a third down and 2 here for the Pioneers. They have only punted once thus far tonight. Baker right up the gut and first down. And that's kind of been the story for Paul VI. That's a play that you have to be able to defend.
Well, especially since Baker's shown it so many times tonight and it's been successful. That was the exact play that he scored his 50-yard touchdown run on.
And Coach Scott, of course.
You see Baker talking to head coach Mark Deal, who has to be very pleased with his team's performance tonight. Again, this was a game that could have went either way, but Clearview has really executed well tonight. Baker has been impressive running this offense. Trezera in the backfield, and that's who gets it. Trezera is met immediately. He'll pick up maybe a pair of yards.
28, Anthony Trezera on the short game.
By the way, Rob, coming into tonight, it's very early. Clearview was the 9th
Nick Maia, number
team
3,
in Group 4, where obviously the first 8 will make the playoffs. Now,
down to 9.
again, it's so early in the process. Teams won't qualify until after their 8th game, but that's why it's important to win as many games, get as many power points as you can.
1st and 10. Thrown and knocked down. Baker attempting one of those rare passes. A little surprised to see him go to the air here, Mark.
A little bit. Looked like Anthony Moran that time. Looked like a volleyball player just slamming that down. Now, obviously, Paul VI has played better defensively here in the second half. Has not allowed a point, although as we see Clearview mounting a drive.
Third down and 9. Baker back to pass, throws over the middle, has his man, touchdown. Sharper.
Oh my God, I had that so good. It was like.
It's interesting because Sharper has not carried the ball much, but that's his second receiving touchdown.
Good for 13 yards.
And on both occasions, Rob, pretty wide open.
13-yard touchdown pass. Sharper with a pair of touchdown receptions. And Baker also running in a pair. The other touchdown coming from Devin Wilmer. That opened the scoring tonight. And Hagans will look to add to it. The extra point is up. And the kick is good. So Clearview adds to their lead. It's now 34-7, Paul VI. And there was that one glimmer of hope for Paul VI that last series, and it all went down in flames via the interception. Jared Baker has really been the story tonight, Mark.
No question about it. We knew about his running ability. He's doing a pretty good job in the air. Remember against Timber Creek a couple weeks ago, he was 0 for 6 passing, but he faced a lot of heat from that Timber Creek line. What people don't realize about Timber Creek is they always talk about the receivers and Devin Leary, the quarterback. They're pretty quick defensively. Clearview saw that firsthand 2 weeks ago. By the way, an interesting partial score here. Cherry Hill West, who we mentioned, came into tonight 4-0 and the number 1 seed in South Jersey Group 4, leading Camden 22-6. Of course, Cherry Hill West has one of the best all-around players in South Jersey, in Harrison Hand, the senior wide receiver, safety, corner, guy that's had double figures in Division I scholarship offers.
Hagans will kick it away for the Pioneers with 10:43 remaining. Clearview and Paul VI. This is a matchup brought to you by the West Jersey Football League, something you wouldn't have seen in past years. Hagen's kick bounces and taken by the Eagles and returned to inside the, looks like inside the 30, 1st and 10, Paul VI. So let's talk a little bit about that, Mark. You know, there's a lot of interesting matchups every week. Of course, some of the tradition has gone by the wayside. A lot of different conferences, you'd see the typical matchups, but it's been very interesting seeing some of these teams.
I think it's been tremendous. I mean, you've seen, like, this year you've seen Haddonfield, Holy Cross. I think it's good, and I think it's good, and I'll get to it a little bit more after this play, Rob, for the smaller schools too, aligning them up against each other.
I think in many ways that's really who it's benefited, when you have some of the teams that have struggled for years and now they're able to play someone of their own caliber.
Well, I'll give you an example of Haddon Township, 0-10 last year, playing that Colonial Conference schedule. This year, you know, beats Wildwood, a team it never would have normally gotten a chance to play. I just think it's more competitive. Now, you're still going to get some teams that are 0-10. It's just going to happen. You're still going to get blowout games. That'll happen. But I think it's leveled the playing field a lot.
Outlet pass to Brown. And there you see McAlpin, who's been all over the field tonight.
I think McAlpin and Glenn have just been two guys that have just, Paul Six has had trouble blocking both of them.
Second down and 14.
And you're on.
Donegan rolls to his right, throws, and knocked down. Good play made defensively by Brandon Holloman, the sophomore.
Knocked down by Brandon Holloman, number 11.
You know, Rob, if you think it's been tough for Paul Six now, how about looking at the Eagles' schedule the next 2 weeks? Cherokee and then Timber Creek. Wow.
Yeah, that's, you know, if you're our Coach Hutton, not a good time to step in. This was a game that it was going to be tough already, but given the fact that all of this happened during the course of the week, it made things all the tougher. And as you mentioned, two of the most high-powered programs on tap next. And that right there is kind of how things have gone. Robertson, of course, with the lone score. For Paul the Sixth unable to hold on to that, and that'll bring up fourth down.
That's a nice play, that little rocket screen. They delayed, and he was open. Had some running room as well. Despite that drop, you're looking there at 7. He's an excellent player.
Westerman, who's been impressive punting tonight. End over end, and they'll have another good punt down just outside the 35-yard line. So we'll see Clearview likely to keep it on the ground and just try to ensure that they head to the locker room when this is all said and done with another victory. There you see the Paul the Sixth schedule that you mentioned. And Mark, you know, it's already tough enough that you have to play Cherokee, but you got to play them on the road too, which for me, Cherokee love, maybe my favorite field in all of South Jersey, that bowl there. Fantastic place to watch a football game.
You're right. I think they're tough anywhere. And then an Eastern team that, you know, had struggled the previous couple of years is improved this year. So, and then, of course, Camden Catholic, one of the top teams in South Jersey. So it does not get easier for the Eagles at all.
Handoff, and Sharper, one of the rare carries, able to pick up positive yardage. And again, the Clearview running attack picking up right where they left off.
I'll tell you what, I think Sharper, again, it's only week 5 in the South Jersey season, but Sharper's certainly been one of the best defensive backs I've seen.
Sharper has garnered some interest from Central Connecticut State, and probably have a few more offers rolling before it's all said and done.
And that's not to say he can't play offense either, because he's very good. They just haven't needed him running the ball.
And a big hit laid out. One of the best defensive plays of the night for Paul the Sixth from Eric Robertson.
And that's where Robertson, we've seen him a lot of receiver, but I think that's where Robertson's future is on the next level. Sharper taking a big hit.
Third down and 3. Baker. And tripped up, but not before gaining the first down. So Clearview will continue to move the sticks.
Good enough for a first down. Tackled on the play by 25, Jeremy Thomas.
And it's a situation, if you're Clearview, you just want to grind it out. And I think at this point, both teams just want to stay away from injuries.
Right, right. Well, who would have thought at the beginning of the year next week that a 3-1 Clearview team would be taking on an undefeated Vineland team? How about that?
Good point. It'll be a very good game, and it's one certainly to watch. Baker hands off, and again, it's Trezera.
And certainly Vineland has visions of, qualifying in Group 5. It's interesting. I'm not sure Group 5's better than Group 4 this year.
Well, certainly with Timber Creek.
Yeah, yeah. We saw Shawnee, a team that I'm not saying winning with mirrors, but just winning. You know, they know how to win. This was a team that a lot of people thought was going to rebuild. They had that big win over Cherokee. We saw them over Washington Township and that crazy ending.
Baker still with the football. Baker! And again, Jared Baker has in himself quite a night. Just racking up the stats.
I'll tell you, great hustle, though, by Demetrius Hudson, number 5, for Paul VI. He actually got him from behind. Had he not, Baker could have been off. Look how he patiently waits for his hole. And there's Hudson right from behind making a big tackle there. That's what I like about Baker. He's never in a rush, Rob. He read that beautifully, took his time, saw the holes, and just slithered through them.
1st and 10. Baker gives to Wilmer.
I'll tell you what, I love the explosion of Wilmer.
Well, again, as we mentioned, Wilmer may be the fastest player on this team. We saw that in the first quarter with his 63-yard touchdown.
He's got the play clock, yeah.
Clearview kind of allowing this drive to continue, just how you would script it as a coach, eating up clock, positive yardage, spreading the football around. Baker, again, Trezera. Coming into the night, Trezera's not a guy that we really talked a lot about, heard a lot about, but he's done a nice job. He's not the biggest kid, listed at 5'7", 150 pounds, but he just adds another element to this offense.
How about the O-line? Iqbal, Geis, Romano, Mulholland, Cuesta. They've really done a tremendous job here tonight.
3rd down and 2 for the Pioneers.
And Riley as well, a tight end.
Wilmer. And again, you see the explosiveness that we mentioned. Looks like he'll have enough for the first down. He will. And Clearview continues to systematically move the football down the field.
You're doing a hell of a job, man. You didn't think you did it.
You know, Trezera being a sophomore, Wilmer being a junior. Some pretty good young players on this Clearview team.
Wilmer cuts it outside. Wilmer will show off his speed. Wilmer caught down. Robertson on the tackle. No easy task getting Wilmer from behind.
That's a big-time tackle that time by Robertson, and that's why I think on the defensive end, look at Hudson trying to trail him there. That's a tremendous tackle by Robertson. There you're looking at a college defensive back right there.
2nd down and 5. Baker's going to run this ball again and look for the end zone. He does, and he does. Well, you almost sense that Baker just read the defense and said, I'm going to take this myself. He did. He has had a hand in 5 touchdowns, running in 3, throwing for 2, and also coming away with a stop defensively on the interception. Clearview adds to their total. It's now 40-7, and Hagen's on to attempt the point after. (41-7). Pioneers.
I'll tell you what, Clearview picked a good night to invite its midget football players here, right?
No, very true.
To see the high school performing like this.
And here you, Mark, you see Baker said, I'm going to do this myself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that is it's going to be a huge win for Clearview, as we said, because they'll get a few power points from Paul VI, a Group 4 size school with a couple of wins already.
Here you see the playing drive. Mark, we were talking a little bit about South Jersey football. How about Pennsville giving St. Joe's all they can handle?
I was at that game, and St. Joe trailed 6-0 going in the fourth quarter, and did a tremendous job by Pennsville. I think Pennsville, which is the defending South Jersey Group 1 champion, I think that defense is going to keep the Eagles competitive, and right there, they certainly have a chance to get back there. And by the way, St. Joe with 7 straight state championships also has a chance in non-public Group 2. Of course, they lost the Holy Spirit in that overtime game earlier this year, and those two could meet again in the postseason. That will be interesting.
High end over end kick taken by Jones. He's been busy tonight. He'll cut it back and look for some room, and Jones still will go back once again. Now looks for the middle. Jones into the secondary. Jones has one man to beat. Does he have any energy left? Jones still trying to break tackles. Finally slung down by
the kicker.
Higgins, the kicker.
Wow, if he would have taken that back, that might have ended up on SportsCenter, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. I think he just ran out of gas.
How about Higgins? That's a good job by the kicker. He's saying, you're not going to take one in on me.
55-yard return by that young man. He's had a busy night returning kicks, has Isaiah Jones. Again, a senior. And again, at this point, Paul VI looking for little things they can build upon. They trail 41-7. Quick outlet pass into the flat, on his feet, and finally slung down is Amir Bird. Holloman on the tackle.
That's a nice play by Paul VI. They've had success doing that, where they get one block, as you see a player down, Holloman down right now. They get that short pass, and then they get the block right there. Remember before it was Constantino who made it. I'm not sure who made it on this time.
We were talking St. Joe's Hamilton and looking at the fine high school football preview that you put out, Mark. And if you get a chance, go to a local convenience store and pick that up. And one of the things you have listed here is St. Joe's Hamilton tied for 3rd place, 37-game winning streak that stopped in 2007. A lot of history over at St. Joe's Hamilton.
And of course, Paul Sacco getting his 300th win this year, becoming the first South Jersey coach to do that, although Joe Frappoli of Florence is pretty close to that as well.
There you see the Clearview schedule. Of course, they're going to have a victory against Paul VI tonight. Then, as we've mentioned, Vineland, Cherry Hill East, who has struggled this year, Winslow, and then a very good Delson team, and of course the traditional Thanksgiving rivalry.
And I'm sure Clearview hopes it can qualify before cutdown day, because how would you like to have to qualify by beating Delsey?
Donegan again to Bird. So Clearview playing a little bit soft defensively, and Donegan taking advantage of that.
First down.
Here's what you like if you're Glenn Hutton, the Paul Six coach. You like the fact that your guys are still fighting there. It's discouraging. It's been a tough game, and here they are fighting and scrapping and trying to get that second touchdown.
Hand off to Brown. Again, looking for things to build upon.
Every tackle, number 69.
2:45 and counting remaining. 41-7. Donegan bobbled, and finally taken down is Bird.
Pretty good concentration by Bird. That looked like it was you, as you mentioned, he bobbled it. Be able to keep a hold of that, take a hit, and get it right near the goal line.
Third down and goal.
Third down and goal now. Clock continues to move for the Eagles.
Let's see if Big 51 Isaiah Riggs gets the ball here. He's lined up there as the fullback. There he is.
It's going to be Vaughters, and Vaughters in for the touchdown.
It was Vaughters who got it, but Riggs did have a crunching block. He may be finding himself having more and more offensive snaps.
The mini fridge. So Paul VI with their second touchdown of the night. And the extra point is good. 41-14, Clearview. Good night for the Mullica Hill Pioneers. And there you see Vaughters just continuing to utilize that strong lower half.
Well,
Minute 44 left. And Mark, are you okay there, buddy?
Yep.
We had something fall from the sky and hit my broadcast partner, Marc Narducci, in the head. But like a trooper, he'll carry on here.
Well, they've always told me I have a hard head, so.
Now they're testing you.
That's exactly right.
Well, now I can confirm it.
Hey, Rob, by the way, I'll be pinch hitting in a couple weeks for you doing Haddonfield West Deptford, and I'll tell you what, is there a better recent rivalry in South Jersey?
It's become a heated rivalry.
Oh,
actually.
my goodness.
And, you know, the two coaches were very close, and now there's a bit of a chasm in that relationship, and that's just added to the rivalry itself.
How about what Frank Delano has done at Haddonfield? I mean, 3 sectional titles, the first 12-0 record a couple years ago in school history, and Clyde Folsom, again. We talked about John Doherty taking over a tough program at Paul VI. When Clyde Folsom took over at West Deptford, they were one of the worst programs in South Jersey.
A little onside kick attempted by Paul VI, and it looks like Clearview will come away with it. Sharper
helping up Robertson, two of the players that have had their name called frequently tonight. And now Clearview will see whether they go to the victory formation. Still a minute 44 left, but
we should see nothing but knees here.
you know, Clyde Folsom has done such a great job with West Effort. You know, I love when, you know, you look back at a program and you forget what they used to be, but you know, this is so long ago, Mark. I was a student teacher at West Effort High School when Clyde Folsom was there, and he just started. And that was a program that was an also-ran. And look at what he's created there.
And it took him a couple of years.
It did.
But once he got it rolling, forget it.
Yep.
They are a legitimate contender every year in Group 2. And of course, some of the time they were in Group 3 as well. And obviously in the West Jersey Football League Liberty Division, I almost said Colonial Liberty.
They could beat some Group 4 and Group 5 schools.
There's no question. And this year's team is just loaded. They run the ball tremendously, and so that should be an interesting game. If I have to pinch hit for you for one, that one's one to do.
Glad to help you. You see the Pioneer cheerleading crew. They've had a lot to cheer for tonight. And all of Mullica Hill will be pleased as the Pioneers have continued this strong start. This should be the last game of the last play of the night for Baker and the Pioneers. And the pitch will keep Hunter Lewis in bounds, and that should do it. So Clearview victorious, and Coach Hutton's debut. Mark Deal and the Pioneers improve upon their success this year, and they defeat the Paul VI Eagles 41-12. Stick around, we'll have post-game interviews and a wrap right after this on your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week.
Welcome back to Clearview High School. Clearview victorious 41-14 over Paul VI. Rob Christ here with winning head coach Mark Deal, and coach, obviously Paul VI dealing with a lot of turmoil through the week. But I really think that you guys sent a positive message right from the get-go. You guys were ready to play. The opening drive, very impressive, spread the ball well. Talk a little bit about Wilmer on his big run.
Devin's been doing a great job for us. You know, he's opposite of G over here, and he does a great job of blocking. And we got on the ball a little bit tonight. He had some big plays for us, and you know, he runs the ball hard, and he's got some speed to him, and he did a nice job tonight for us.
You know, one of the things that I saw with your offense is that when you can control the line of scrimmage, you have so many different weapons out there, and that's got to be not only a big asset for, you know, your team in terms of the morale, knowing that everybody's going to touch the ball, but defensively, it really keeps them fresh.
Yeah, we try to mix the ball up. You know, it's the nature of our offense. You know, the triple option. You have the quarterback element, you have the fullback element, and then we have two halfback elements. And then obviously, you know, when we throw the ball a little bit, and we can get our passing game going, and we get the wide receivers involved a little bit too. So when we're going on all cylinders, it looks really good.
Talk a little bit about Jared Baker. I mean, obviously a big night tonight. He's really improved in terms of running this offense, and I think that tonight, you know, he did it on both sides of the football.
Yeah, we count on him to do a lot of things. You know, it kind of goes. It's an oversight for some people to see that he makes a lot of calls at the line of scrimmage. So it's not just his physical play, but his mental play that gets us in the right plays. And you know, today was a special night for him because it was his birthday and he had a big game. And you know, we're happy for him.
Now, you're off to a great start. Of course, your only loss coming against probably the top team in South Jersey. I know St. Augustine might argue against Timber Creek, but, otherwise, very successful start. Now, looking ahead, you have a very tough Vineland team. They're off to a great start. They had the bye week ready to prepare. I mean, what do you do to prepare for a Vineland team that's a Group 5 school, and you kind of need to win that game to continue that momentum and make sure that you can make the playoffs?
Well, we're going to enjoy this one tonight first, and then we'll go to work tomorrow for that one. And obviously, that's going to be a very challenging opponent. Like you said, they're undefeated. They're Group 5. They've been doing very well. Had a chance to see a little bit of film on them earlier in the year, and it's going to be a good test for us next week.
When you started the season and you saw this team, did you say, this is a definite playoff team, and we can make some hay in Group 4?
I don't say anything's definite, but I thought that if we got off to a good start and we can stay healthy and we can continue to improve, that we'd have a good opportunity to compete for a spot. And it looks like we're starting to do that a little bit. And obviously next week will be, like I said, a big test for us to take that next step, to get to our goal of making a Group 4 playoffs.
Well, you're certainly firing on all cylinders. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. We're going to talk to a couple of the offensive stars tonight. First, Jair Sharper. And Jair, I know you were a little banged up coming into the season, the last couple games, and some fine power running. Very impressed with your defensive play. When you go out there, what do you pride yourself on? Is it your defensive play, or you want the football offensively?
I try to do my best on both sides of the ball. And when I'm out there, I'm just giving 100% every play. I prefer defense, but I'm going to give 100% every play.
In your first touchdown pass, you looked a little frustrated to play before. No one covered you. They double-teamed the one guy and kind of left you wide open. Was it a conversation that you had with Jared in the huddle?
Nah, it was a little mistake, but we adjusted and we got it the next play.
Yeah, the next play it happened. So you didn't make any mention of that to Jared in the huddle to look for me, or?
Nah, I knew he was gonna get there. I knew he was gonna get there.
So talk about this team. Obviously, you guys are off to a strong start. You got a tough game ahead. What's the special sauce for this team so far?
The special sauce is practice. If we practice great every day, then we know we're gonna go into the game good. You got to give 100 in practice, and that's exactly how you're gonna play.
Well, obviously, you're going to need a solid week of practice facing a very good Vineland team. I want to thank you, Jair. I'm going to step over here with our birthday boy, Jarrett Baker. So, Jarrett, again, you couldn't have really written a better birthday present for yourself. What a day. 3 touchdowns rushing, and then, of course, 2 to Sharper. 146 yards on the ground. I know that you pride yourself as a lacrosse player, but this is quite a night for you come football season.
Yeah, I mean, I love both sports, but it's just so much cooler, under the lights and with all the fans and football. And I just had one of the best nights of my life.
Talk about your development as a quarterback. Last year you started to kind of get acclimated here, but you really seem comfortable out there, and obviously a lot of the reads are dependent upon yourself. What have you done to develop yourself as the successful quarterback that you are?
Well, last year really helped me out to because I was nervous going in last year, first year starter, but the year gave me a lot of experience, and I really worked on not turning over the ball, and it's paid off so far.
So obviously you have a lot of very talented running backs. You've spread the ball well. Willishek and Trezero. We talked about Sharper earlier. Wilmer with the big score. How do you keep everybody happy?
I mean, it's just you can't be selfish in this offense. So, whoever's night it is, it's their night, and they're going to get the glory. And tonight just happened to be mine, I guess.
Well, tonight certainly was your glory. What a birthday night for you. And I know that you're going to have a good time tonight celebrating. Again, a tremendous game. I wish you the best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
Let's bring our own Marc Narducci in. Thank you, Jared, for joining us. And Marc will just step on over here. Marc, again, Clearview comes into this game on a little bit of a roll, but,
they've even gained momentum. They're going to need that momentum as they head into next week against a very good Vineland team.
Yeah, and a Vineland team that had a bye. So just as Clearview got healthy from its bye, Vineland probably getting healthy, has 2 weeks to prepare for Clearview. But as we said during the telecast, Rob, who would have thought going into week 6 that we're going to have a 3-1 Clearview team and a 4-0 Vineland team, and both of them very, very much in the playoff picture.
You know, let's talk a little bit about Paul VI, Coach Hutton making his debut tonight and, you know, really thrown into a tough spot. Paul VI, you know, you just got a sense that if they didn't get it done in that first quarter, it just wasn't going to happen for them. They've been through so much, and, you know, they have to build upon the few successes that they had tonight.
They did, and I talked to him after the game, and one of the things that he said was, I said, what did you think about your team fighting when you're down 41-7 and you score that second touchdown? And he said, I told my team I was proud of them. That's what I told them, that, you know, you've got adversity, you got to battle it, and you got to get through it. And, you know, he says, we'll get through it. And the other thing he said to me was, it'll be good to have a full week to prepare.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very, very, very difficult situation. But I talked to Isaiah Riggs, who was only a freshman and was all over the field for them. And Isaiah Riggs. And he says, no excuses, no excuses. You know, they beat us. And you like to see that attitude.
Absolutely,
yeah.
A very mature response from a young man.
Yeah.
You talk about dealing with adversity. Of course, Clearview is going to have some adversity as they come against a good Vineland team. As we look ahead and you watch this Clearview team tonight, I mean, obviously Timber Creek is going to have a lot to say in Group 4, but how far can this Clearview team get?
Well, I think first of all, Rob, they want to get in there, and it's going to be tough. We mentioned going into today, and there's still a lot of football to be played. They were the 9th team in power points out of with the top 8 get in. So they just want to get in, and then after that, who knows? You know, it all depends who you're matched up against and everything like that. I'll tell you one thing: no one's going to want to be the number 8 seed. But even though right now Cherry Hill West was the top seed, not Timber Creek, but even so, no one's going to want to play Timber Creek. But I think that Clearview, if in, will be a competitive team because they run the ball, they can control the clock, and they have tough kids on defense, don't they?
Absolutely. Then we saw it tonight. I mean, just so much talent. And, you know, what I was impressed with, a lot of different guys really had a hand in the victory. Talk about defensively, McAlpin was all over the field tonight, and just so many different players. And again, that will bode well for them come playoff time. So again, a nice game here by Clearview against Paul VI team that was up against it this week, frankly. So Clearview comes away with a big win. They'll look to ride that success in the next week against Vineland. Your final score, it was Clearview 41, Paul VI 14. For my partner, Marc Narducci, my stats man, Zach Bates, and all the crew, I'm Rob Christ. Thanks for joining us on our Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week.